I never thought a voice memo could feel like an earthquake. It was past midnight when I heard it, half asleep on the couch, remote still in hand, the glow of the TV painting shadows on the walls. I tapped my phone out of habit, expecting another promo or some family group thread. Instead, it was a voice memo. The voice was slow, slurred, and unmistakably drunk. "Hey, Caleb, ever wonder why Sadie doesn't look a thing like you?" Silence. "Maybe 'cause she isn't yours, man. Maybe it's 'cause she was mine first." Then came a laugh, long, slow, and soaked in something darker than alcohol. The voice? Brandon Cole. A name I hadn't heard in over 20 years. Erica worked with him back in med school, long before Sadie was born. I remembered him clearly. Smug, flirty, the type who never missed an opportunity to flirt or grandstand. But I also remembered Erica saying he left town after some scandal. Something about misconduct, maybe a suspension. So why now? And why did his words punch a hollow through my gut? I sat upright like I'd been slapped. The message was only 30 seconds, but it rewired something in my brain. My mouth was dry. I walked into the kitchen and poured a glass of water, as if hydration could drown the doubt. It didn't. That night, I didn't sleep. Not a second. I just stared at the family photo on the mantle, the three of us at Sadie's high school graduation, and wondered how much of it was real. 2 days later, I plucked a few strands of Sadie's hair from her bathroom hairbrush and mailed them to a private DNA lab in Boise, Idaho. Discreet, expensive, fast. I told no one, not even Erica. Not until I knew. For days crawled by. Then the email arrived. Subject line, test results. I clicked. Probability of paternity, 0%. I froze there in my office, holding the printout like it was radioactive. My ears rang. My hands trembled. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just let out a short, bitter laugh, because for 21 years, I had loved Sadie more than I thought a man like me could love anything. And now, she wasn't mine. Not by blood. Not by law. Not even by the lies that used to hold us together. That night, Erica came downstairs humming, barefoot in her floral robe, smiling like the world was still intact. She kissed my cheek, swaying to some rhythm only she heard as she stirred her famous turkey chili. I said nothing. Not yet. Later that night, after she fell asleep, I opened the old box in our closet, the one she promised hadn't been touched since Sadie's birth. Inside was her old journal. I flipped through pages of doodles, half-written dreams, and grocery lists until I found it. August 3rd, 2002. I shouldn't have gone to that party, but it felt so good. The drinks, the music, him. Brandon. He always knew how to make me feel seen. God forgive me. We weren't even married yet, but I feel like I betrayed Caleb. I just hope he never finds out. I closed the journal. My hands trembled. My mind did not. That was the night Sadie was conceived. Not mine. Not mine. Not mine. The next morning, I made breakfast. Eggs. Coffee. A cinnamon roll from her favorite bakery. And in the center of the table, two things, the DNA test and a photocopy of the journal entry. When Erica walked in, her face lit up with a smile that now gave me chills. "All this?" she asked, sitting like it was a date. "A funeral," I said. She blinked. Then she saw the paper. "Read it." Blink again. Her smile cracked, slowly. "You read my journal? That's what you're worried about?" "It was before we were married, Caleb. It doesn't even matter." "It matters," I said. "I raised a daughter who wasn't mine, and you never told me. It was just one night." I leaned closer. "Then why did you write that you couldn't stop thinking about him?" And in that moment, Sadie walked in. She looked at both of us, looked at the table. Her eyes flicked across the documents, reading quickly, lips parting as if to speak, then closing again. And finally, she said one word. "You're pathetic." That word hurt more than the test. I didn't react. I just slid an envelope across the table. Her name and Brandon Cole's address were typed on the front. "Pack your things," I said coldly. "You've got 30 minutes to meet your real dad." Sadie didn't slam the door. Didn't cry. She just walked out, the envelope in hand and a silence behind her so thick it felt like smoke. And that hurt most of all. I sat in the kitchen for what felt like hours, sunlight leaking in slowly through the blinds, casting long bars of gold across a breakfast nobody touched. The eggs were cold. The coffee, bitter. The cinnamon roll still perfectly intact. Across the table, Erica sat with her legs crossed, slowly stirring her coffee like it was any other morning. "You're really going to do this?" she asked at last, her voice calm, almost bored. "Over one little mistake?" "One mistake," I repeated. I still fixed on the chair Sadie had left behind. "You lied every day for over 20 years. She tilted her head, narrowed her eyes. "I didn't lie." I just didn't tell you everything. There's a difference. I let out a sharp, humorless laugh. You rewrote our whole life. You let me believe Sadie was my daughter while you carried a truth you buried in some damn journal. I gave you a daughter, she snapped. Something your body could never give you. I froze. She knew. She had never said it out loud before, not to me, not to anyone but Miles and the doctor, that I was sterile. That Sadie was a miracle I never questioned too deeply. And she used it. She turned it into a weapon. You're incredible, I whispered. Erica stood, smoothed down her robe, and walked to the sink. She rinsed her mug with the same casual grace she used to impress donors, wipe Sadie's tears, or host neighborhood fundraisers. You can be mad, Caleb. That's fine. But don't act like I didn't do what was best for all of us. For Sadie, you were happy, weren't you? I said nothing. Because I had been happy. Blindly, stupidly happy. I built our house with my own hands. Painted her home office lilac because she said it calmed her. Stayed up all night helping Sadie with science fair models. And now I realized every one of those moments stood on a rotting foundation. I want you out by tonight, I said, voice steady. No anger, just finality. She turned. Her lips curled in a sarcastic smile. You think you can just kick me out? You're not on the deed, I replied. Bought the house before we were married. She took a step closer. I'm still Sadie's mother. Exactly, I said. You're her mother, but you're no longer my wife. What followed was a performance worthy of an awards show. Tears, threats, sweet promises, voice rising and falling like she was auditioning for sympathy. I made a mistake, Caleb. Don't ruin everything over this. I love you. You don't lie to people you love, I answered. Then I climbed the stairs and opened our shared closet. Her clothes were still lined up by color, season, mood. I began to pack them, folding each piece methodically into a suitcase. Not out of compassion, out of principle. She didn't deserve chaos, not yet. She deserved the slow collapse of her empire. As I packed, she followed me, talking, pleading, adjusting her tone like a radio dial. But I was already gone, mentally. The decision was made. At 1 p.m., I changed the locks. By 2 o'clock, she was gone. No luggage, no pride, just her phone in hand and venom in her glare. At 2:15, I called Derek Lawson, my attorney. He was a sharp-dressed bulldog with a courtroom growl and a gift for turning betrayal into airtight strategy. I sent him everything. The DNA report, the journal page, screenshots of Brandon's message, even a picture of Sadie holding the envelope. After 10 minutes, Derek called me back. This is going to get ugly, he said. You ready? No, I replied. But I'm not backing down. That evening, Miles came over. He'd always been the kind of brother who smelled fire before the smoke. He scanned the living room like a detective, as if the scent of Erica still hung in the air. She's coming back, he said. But not for you. For control. I nodded. Then he handed me a USB drive. Everything I could dig up on Brandon Cole. Old complaints. Shady rep. People he screwed over. I accepted it in silence. My hands weren't shaking anymore. I wasn't reacting. I was preparing. What I didn't expect was how fast the war would come. Because less than 48 hours later, Erica was back at the front door. No tears this time. No apologies. Just that smile. The one she used to end arguments, charm donors, and sell the illusion of a perfect life on Instagram. She knocked twice. I didn't move. Then came louder knocks. Then her voice, soft, practiced. Caleb, we need to talk. For Sadie. Her name still hurt. I opened the door but didn't step aside. Behind Erica stood a man in a tailored gray suit, hair slicked back, confidence oozing from every pore. My attorney, she said, like it was supposed to intimidate me. Mark Temple. He handed me a business card like this was a casual business transaction. We're here for a civil conversation, he said with a smirk. No drama. I crossed my arms. Then you came to the wrong house. Erica stepped forward like she still belonged in that house. I'm here for a fair arrangement, she said, slipping into that calm, public tone she used at charity events. Let's not drag this into court. You can keep the house. I just want the SUV, a reasonable monthly allowance, and visitation rights, if Sadie chooses to stay with you. I almost laughed. You lied. You cheated. You let me raise a daughter that wasn't mine. You don't get to negotiate. She gave a little shrug. I've already filed. Emotional neglect. Psychological cruelty. The longer this takes, the worse it gets for both of us. Mark Temple smiled, lips twitching like he'd just been dealt a winning hand. Family law is messy, Mr. Walker. The truth doesn't always matter. Perception does. I walked to the living room, grabbed the envelope Derek had prepped, and handed it to him. Start reading. Inside were copies of Erica's journal entry, financial statements showing suspicious transfers to Brandon and 2 unknown accounts, screenshots of private messages mocking me and our marriage, and photos. One in particular, 5 years old, Erica and Brandon, laughing like teenagers at Lake Winnipesaukee, with matching tattoos on their wrists. Temple's face shifted from smug to tight-lipped in under 5 seconds. Erica's didn't, at first, but when her attorney looked at her, dead serious, she stiffened. "This," he said, voice drier now. "Is this already public?" "Not yet," I answered. "But it will be." They left in silence. No slammed doors. No one last word. Erica looked back once, over her shoulder, and said, "You think this makes you strong? You were always weak, Caleb. Always too soft. That's why I kept you." "I know," I said, "but I'm not useful anymore, am I?" The next morning, I met with Derek at his office, glass walls, cold air, legal briefs stacked like trophies. He didn't offer coffee, just pointed to a chair. "Ready to go nuclear?" I nodded. We hit hard, fast, full exposure. No public sympathy. No influencer comeback. "I've talked to 2 outlets. They're very interested." "Let's make it real," I said. "Then we need a strategy," he replied. "Not revenge. We control the narrative. Protect your name. Show this isn't retaliation, it's truth." He opened his laptop and played the voice memo Erica had sent Brandon last year, laughing. "Caleb is so desperate to feel like a dad, he believes anything I say." That was all we needed. That afternoon, I shut everything down. The shared credit cards, her access to our joint accounts, the home Wi-Fi, even her fitness app, which I'd paid for all these years. At 6 p.m., I texted Miles. "She'll come at me next." "She already has," he replied. "Check your email." I did. There it was, a reel from Erica's Instagram. She sat in a parked car, mascara streaked, facing the camera directly. I've been betrayed, manipulated, silenced. I gave my all to a man who treated me like decoration, not a partner. And now he's punishing me for being a mother. 100,000 views in an hour. The comments rolled in. "You're strong, queen. Men always tear down powerful women. He's jealous of your success." I forwarded the video to Derek. His reply came in seconds. "Time to drop the hammer." Monday at 9 a.m., we launched what Derek called a strategic detonation. One coordinated release across 3 platforms, a legal blog, a major digital news site, and a viral podcast hosted by the razor-sharp Hannah Price. The headline? "The Woman Who Lied for 20 Years, One Man's Story of Fatherhood and Betrayal." No insults. No anger. Just facts. DNA test. Financial fraud. Journal entries. Text messages. Screenshots. Voice memos. Nothing dramatized. The truth screamed louder than any fiction. By noon, Erica's Instagram was flooded with questions. Is this real? Did you lie about your daughter's father? Did you steal from your joint accounts? By 3 p.m., 2 sponsors pulled out. By 5 o'clock, the community center suspended her. And at 8 o'clock, my phone lit up with a message from Sadie. "We need to talk." She didn't knock. Just the soft click of her old key sliding into the front door. I stayed on the couch, hands clasped, the manila folder lying on the coffee table like a silent witness. Sadie stepped inside wearing the same college hoodie I bought her during that school trip to Burlington. Her hair was tied back. Her eyes were heavy, older. We stared at each other for several seconds, the silence brittle. Then she asked, "Is it all true?" I didn't speak, just slid the folder across to her. She sat down. 10 minutes passed. 10 minutes of reading. The DNA test, Erica's journal, bank transfers, messages to Brandon, voice memos. When Sadie finally looked up, her voice trembled. She says, "You hit her. That you screamed. That you told her I wasn't your daughter just to hurt her." "I've never laid a finger on her," I said. "And I didn't tell you out of spite. I told you the truth because you deserved it, even if it shattered everything." She swallowed. "I thought you were just angry." "I am angry, but I don't lie." Tears welled in her eyes. "You told me not to come back." "I know." Pause. "Do you still love me?" she asked, barely above a whisper. I didn't answer right away. "I don't know who you are anymore," I said quietly. She nodded and wiped her cheek. Then, without warning, she stood. "Mom's not okay. She's falling apart. No friends. No work. She says you took everything from her." I met her eyes. She took it from me first. I just took it back. Sadie didn't respond. She left without another word. That silence hurt deeper than the insult she'd thrown at me days ago. The next morning, 2 officers knocked at my door. "Mr. Caleb Walker?" "Yes. We need to ask you a few questions. Ms. Erica Walker has filed a report for domestic violence." I blinked. Of course. Her last card, fear. I nodded, grabbed my coat, and followed them. In the interrogation room, they read her statement. She claims you entered her temporary residence 2 nights ago, threatened her, and pushed her against the wall. Complete fiction, I said. Do you have an alibi? I was home, connected online, watching the media drop. My lawyer can confirm timestamps. And your daughter says you seemed unstable when she visited. That unstable man gave her a folder full of evidence she needed to stop believing lies. 2 hours later, I walked out. No charges, no arrest. But the message was clear. If Erica couldn't win, she'd try to burn everything down with her. But what she didn't realize, I'd already rebuilt. And this time, with fireproof walls. The next day, I didn't go to work. Instead, I drove across town to Hickory Hill Community Center, where Erica had posed as a charitable saint for 5 years. Baked cookies, gave talks, organized fundraisers in Sadie's name. She hadn't just faked it at home. She'd faked it everywhere. I walked into the director's office and handed her a sealed envelope. She looked up, wary. I'm Caleb Walker. You've probably seen my name online. That envelope contains proof your former volunteer embezzled donations. She hesitated. We already suspended her after the coverage. Open it anyway. Inside, bank records showing transfers from the center's PayPal to a private account under Erica's sister's name 3 times last year. Plus a signed testimony from Amber Collins, a former friend, stating she saw Erica use charity funds for a luxury weekend getaway. The director turned pale. Why would she do this? I didn't answer. Some truths speak louder in silence. When I left, Erica's face had already vanished from the community center's website. Her name scrubbed from every flyer in the lobby, like she'd never existed. That same night, Derek texted me. Podcast episode just dropped. Going national. And it did. By Friday, Erica was trending again, this time under the hashtag mother of deceit. Every clip, every message, every tear she ever staged, dissected, mocked, replayed. A tweet went viral. She built a brand on being a perfect mom and loyal wife. Turns out, her life was a script, and she was the villain from page 1. I should have felt triumphant, but I didn't. I felt hollow. The truth was out, but it had taken something with it, something I might never get back. I was still reeling from the podcast's impact when my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something made me answer. Caleb, it's Amber. Amber Collins. I froze. Erica's old friend. The one who vanished from our lives 6 years ago after that mysterious girl's trip to Miami. I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, she said quickly. But I saw the podcast. And I need to tell you something. We met at a quiet cafe near the water, the kind with soft jazz playing and no one asking questions. Amber arrived wrapped in a scarf and sunglasses like she was hiding from the world, or maybe from the person she used to be. Over coffee, she laid it out. That trip to Miami? It wasn't just the girls. Brandon was there. And 2 other men. They had something going on. I didn't want any part of it. I flew home the next morning. I clenched my jaw. All these years, and you say nothing? I thought you knew, she whispered. I thought you figured it out long ago. But when I saw Sadie's face in that podcast thumbnail, I realized you were in the dark the whole time. She slid a USB drive across the table. Everything I saved. Texts, voice notes, even a few photos Erica sent me by accident. I picked it up. Did she ever talk about me? I asked. Amber hesitated, then nodded. She used to say, being with you was like being in a coma. Safe, predictable, emotionally numb. She said raising Sadie with you was stability, not passion. I didn't flinch, just nodded. Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry, Caleb. Truly. She left. And just like that, another brick in Erica's carefully built tower of lies came tumbling down. That night, I called Derek. We need to go public with all of it, I said. Everything. No more soft punches. I thought we already had, he replied. Not enough. I don't just want her reputation damaged. I want it erased. He paused for a moment, then said, give me 72 hours. And he meant it. By Monday morning, Derek's team had built a digital timeline, sleek, precise, and devastating. A web of evidence, dates, diary entries, transfers, messages, voice recordings. Like a forensic map of a perfect deception. At 10 a.m., we launched it under the title, Paper Walls, the lie behind a perfect life. And it blew up. Erica's Instagram was suspended within hours for integrity violations. Her brand sponsors ghosted. By noon, her name trended again for the 3rd time in 2 weeks. Even national morning shows picked it up with splashy segments titled, Exclusive, How One Father Uncovered Mexico's Greatest Family Fraud. And under all that noise, silence. No posts, no reels, no tears, nothing. Until that evening, when my phone rang again. This time, Erica. I let it ring 10 times before picking up. What did you do? She snapped. I told the truth, I said. And people believed it. You ruined my life. No. I just showed them what it already was. There was silence. Then her tone shifted, slower, almost wistful. We've been through worse, Caleb. We can fix this. I laughed, not with cruelty. Just exhaustion. You burned the bridge, Erica. You don't get to cross back over it. Click. The next day, Sadie came back. Not as a daughter, not as a victim, but as a young woman carrying questions that weighed more than she could handle. She stood at the door, folder in hand. I took a DNA test, she said. Brandon is my biological father. I already knew. But hearing her say it settled something deep inside me. Quietly, she sat down at the same table where this had all begun. I want to hate her, she said. But she's still my mom. I don't know what to do. You don't have to decide anything today, I said. She's unraveling. No friends. No money. Nothing. She chose that path. Sadie looked at me. Do you really not care? I do, I answered. But I'm not carrying her anymore. Or you. What does that mean? It means you get to choose who you want to be. But you don't get to live here like nothing happened. Not yet. She nodded. Eyes filled with pain and understanding. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know. That night, I drove to the studio where Hannah Price recorded her podcast. Not as a guest. As a contributor. Derek's PR team had arranged it. Hannah sat across from me, sharp, focused, no sympathy, just clarity. Caleb, she began, what do you say to people who think this is just revenge? I took a deep breath. It's not revenge, I said. It's clarity. I spent 24 years living a lie, lost a marriage, a daughter, myself. This isn't anger. It's honesty. Because silence protects liars. She nodded slowly. Any regrets? I looked into the mic. Only one. That I didn't see the signs sooner. 2 days after the podcast aired, Erica played her next move. At exactly 7:04 p.m., I received an email from the Seattle Civil Court. She'd filed for a restraining order. The document accused me of harassment, public defamation, and economic destabilization. I stared at the PDF on my phone, not angry, just stunned by her audacity. She wasn't trying to win anymore. She was trying to survive by dragging me back into the fire. I forwarded the document to Derek. 10 minutes later, he called. She's trying to flip the narrative again, paint herself as the victim of a vindictive ex-husband. It's classic strategy, gain media's sympathy, delay litigation. Can we stop it? We can do better. We'll file a counter-order tomorrow and make yours enforceable. She'll be locked out of your life, legally. Do it. The next morning, I signed the documents in Derek's office. Each signature felt like a period at the end of a sentence I'd waited years to finish. Erica was now legally barred from contacting me, stepping on my property, or speaking on my behalf in public. That same afternoon, Hannah Price dropped a follow-up podcast episode titled, Behind the Mask, The Collapse of Erica Sloan. It detailed everything from the DNA manipulation to the curated family brand. 2 former friends even went on record, confirming what Amber and others had already said. Hannah ended the episode with a chilling line. She didn't just betray a man. She built her career on it. That night, I didn't feel peace. I felt empty. Like I'd won a war I never wanted to fight. I wandered through the house room by room, a museum of our life. Every framed photo, every souvenir from a family vacation, now tinged with questions. What was real? What was borrowed? What was just paper over a crack? My phone buzzed. A message from Sadie. I want to come home. Just for a few days. I stared at it. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't know what to say. Was she coming back to me, or just escaping her mother? I replied, not yet. We'll talk, but not yet. She left me on read, and somehow that hurt more than all the shouting. That weekend, I got another visitor. Natalie Brooks, Erica's best friend from college. Maid of honor at our wedding. Godmother to Sadie. She showed up with dark circles under her eyes and a thick manila folder in her hand. I know you don't want to see me, she said. You're right, but you need to see this. We sat in the same kitchen where the truth first broke open. She pulled out printouts, screenshots, old invitations, message logs. She used all of us, Natalie whispered. She told us to lie for her. Said you were cold, robotic, emotionally detached. She said she married you out of fear, not love, and made us promise never to tell you. One of the messages said, Caleb's safe, boring, Predictable. He won't ever leave me. He thinks I'm the best he'll ever get. I looked at Natalie. Why now? Her voice cracked. Because now she's threatening me. Said if I didn't defend her, she'd leak secrets I shared with her in college. She's unraveling, Caleb. I think she's gone. I nodded slowly. She's already lost. I thought that would be the end. The legal chaos had calmed. The media storm was fading. Sadie had gone quiet. Erica had vanished from social media. But just as silence began to feel like peace, I got a call from the Daily Ledger. Anna Morris, a senior reporter. Mr. Walker, Erica Sloan is giving her first public interview since the scandal, she said. Do you want to provide a statement for balance? I nearly dropped my coffee. She's still fighting? Anna hesitated. Not exactly. She's reframing, positioning herself as a woman driven to deception by societal pressure. She says your obsession with perfection made her feel invisible, that she never meant to cause harm. I leaned back in my chair, stunned by the shamelessness. She built a fantasy life. Now she's writing a fantasy excuse. Would you like to make a formal comment? I already did, I said. Let the truth speak louder than her performance. But the tension was back. And this time, Sadie showed up again. She didn't ask to come in. She just stood at the door with her phone, showing me the trailer for the interview. Soft lighting, perfect angles, tears in her eyes. He was cold. I felt like a ghost in my own home. Yes, I lied. But I lied because I was alone. Sadie looked at me, voice cracking. Is any of that true? I sighed. I wasn't perfect. I hid my emotions too often. But I never lied, never manipulated, never made her feel worthless. That she did on her own. Sadie said nothing. Only this. I'm staying with a friend, but I'll watch the whole interview. If she lies, I'll speak up. And just like that, she was gone again. This time, no folder, no tears, only silence that felt like it might finally mean something real. That night, I moved through the house like a curator through an abandoned museum. Room by room, I stripped away what remained of her. Photos, boxed. Clothes, donated. Keepsakes, burned, one by one, in the fire pit behind the garage. In our wedding album, on the very first page, she looked radiant. I looked tired, hopeful. I barely recognized that man anymore. And just when I thought the past had finally stopped knocking, another email arrived. Subject, urgent. Legal escalation from opposing counsel. From Mark.Temple. Attached, a scanned letter claiming I had intentionally inflicted reputational harm through orchestrated public campaigns. A formal threat of lawsuit for defamation with malicious intent. I sent it straight to Derek. His response? She's delusional. Still thinks she can rewrite the ending. What now? I asked. We don't respond. We go higher. So we did. Derek's media strategist produced a powerful legal explainer. A sleek, 8-minute video narrated by Hannah Price, laying out the entire case. Facts, dates, receipts, audio. It wasn't viral. It was thermonuclear. By morning, we were trending across multiple countries. Hashtags returned. Hashtag the mother myth. Hashtag truth over tears. Hashtag Erica unmasked. Influencers chimed in with their own experiences. Former sponsors issued statements of disassociation. Even those who once sympathized with Erica went silent. No one defended her anymore. And then came the text from Sadie. She's spiraling. I tried to talk to her. She screamed. Broke things. She's not well. I answered honestly. I know. But she's not my problem anymore. Sadie hesitated, then asked. And me? I stared at the screen for a long time. Then typed. You're always welcome, when you're ready to see clearly. The court date came at last. Months of war, emotional, legal, public, all led to one gray room behind a Seattle courthouse. Erica sat across the aisle from me, but she wasn't her anymore. No eyeliner, no power suit, no posture, just hollow cheeks, flat eyes, and a scarf wrapped tightly around her throat, like even her voice was afraid. The judge read through the paperwork. Division of property, settled. Custody, irrelevant. Defamation countersuit, dismissed. Restraining orders, upheld. Spousal support, denied. Erica only looked up once, when it became clear she'd walk away with nothing. No house, no car, no savings. Just her last name and the public shame it now carried. She caught up to me in the hallway after. Her voice was low, ragged. You think you won? I stopped, met her eyes, those same eyes I once kissed beneath honeymoon stars. No, I said. I survived. Then what is all this? This, I replied, is you finally facing what you built. Not me. You. Her jaw clenched. I built our family. You just existed in it. I nodded once. And now I exist without it. And I'm still standing. She opened her mouth, but I was already walking away. When I got home, I paused at the threshold. It was my house again, fully mine. The silence inside wasn't empty. It was sacred. Room by room, I felt the absence of her, of pain, of lies. And I realized I wasn't just free. I was clean. That afternoon, I brewed coffee and sat on the back porch, letting the breeze tell me I was alive. And then, soft footsteps. Familiar, hesitant. Sadie. She didn't knock, just stood there, eyes red, fingers trembling. I saw the full interview, she whispered. I heard it all. I waited. She lied, she said. Even crying, it was fake. And I believed her before I believed you. I said nothing. I don't deserve forgiveness. No, I said. But you do deserve a chance to rebuild. Her lip quivered. Do you still love me? This time, I didn't hesitate. Yes. And then she cried, fully, uncontrollably, for the first time since this all began. And I let her hug me. Not because everything was fixed, but because, at last, it could begin to be. Sadie stayed for only a few days. We didn't talk about Erica. Not directly. Not yet. She moved like a guest in the home she grew up in, polite, quiet, overly careful. She'd start a sentence and stop midway. She'd clean up dishes she didn't dirty. She didn't touch the walls of her childhood room, just stared at the photos on the shelf like they belonged to someone else. But even silence has weight, and sometimes the heaviest truths come in how we don't speak. One morning, she made coffee before I came downstairs. There were 2 cups waiting. No sugar, just how I liked it. I've been reading the comments, she said, not looking at me. Online. She nodded. They hate her now. They hate what she did. Same thing. No, I said. It's not. Hate is easy. But truth? That sticks longer. She sipped, then added. She says I'm all she has left. I said nothing. I'm not ready to lose her, she whispered. I'm not asking you to, I said. But I won't let you carry her either. She nodded. Then, did you mean it? When you said I wasn't your problem? I looked at her. I meant, I can't fix your mother. I'm done trying. But you? You'll always be my choice. Even if you were never mine by blood. Tears welled up, but she didn't let them fall. Instead, she reached across the table and placed her hand over mine. It was the first time she'd touched me since the truth came out, and it meant more than any apology. That evening, while Sadie was out with a friend, I got a message from Derek. The Daily Ledger just confirmed. Erica's interview airs tomorrow night, prime time. I didn't answer. I didn't care. But Sadie did. She came home late, opened her laptop, and sat beside me on the couch. Together, we watched the preview clip. Erica sat in a soft-lit studio, wearing a pale sweater and delicate makeup. Her voice was low, her posture fragile. He wanted control, she said. Everything had to be perfect, and I wasn't. So I hid. And yes, I lied. But I lied to survive. Sadie looked at me. Her jaw tightened. She's turning herself into a victim again. She doesn't know how to be anything else, I replied. Do you want me to speak out? She asked. I shook my head. Not unless it's your truth. Not mine. Not anyone else's. She stared at the paused screen. I used to think she was unstoppable. She is, I said. But only when no one holds up a mirror. The next day, the full interview aired. I didn't watch it live, but I didn't need to. Clips flooded social media, soundbites, reactions, threats. Some defended her, said she was pressured by male perfectionism. Others dug deeper, comparing her words to earlier lies. But for the first time, the doubt didn't shake me. I didn't feel exposed. I felt insulated, like I was finally standing behind something solid. That same night, Sadie packed her things. She didn't say she was leaving for good. She didn't have to. At the front door, she turned and asked, Do you think she ever loved you? I thought a moment. I think she loved how I made her feel, not who I was. Sadie bit her lip. Do you still love her? No, I said, but I loved who I thought she was. And that still counts for something. She hugged me then, tight, desperate, human. Thank you for never yelling. Thank you for coming back. She stepped into the night without looking back. And I didn't feel abandoned. I felt whole. For the first time since the voice memo that started it all. Weeks passed. The media storm faded, replaced by fresher scandals and newer villains. The podcast stopped trending. The hashtag stopped climbing. But in my house, in my life, the silence finally began to mean something good. I rebuilt in small ways. Painted the office a new shade of blue. Replaced the old couch she insisted we buy. Adopted a dog, a calm mutt from the shelter who didn't flinch when thunder rolled in. I let things heal by not rushing them. Some scars demand time, not treatment. And then one morning, as I trimmed the hedges outside, the mailman handed me a thick envelope. Legal paper. From Mark Temple's firm. I sighed. Inside, a settlement offer. Erica was done fighting. She was offering to drop all remaining threats of legal action in exchange for a signed public statement saying I regretted the way things became public. I handed the envelope to Derek the next day. He skimmed it, tossed it aside. She wants your silence. She's not protecting herself. She's trying to save a future version of herself. Maybe an apology to her. A book deal. Should I ignore it? He nodded. Unless you want to hand her a second chance at rewriting her image. I don't. And that was the end of it. A final silence that didn't ache. A few days later, I got a letter from Sadie. Handwritten. Inside. No dramatic paragraphs. Just truth. Dad, I don't know what's next. I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. But I do know this. I trust you now. And I know what you gave me wasn't fake, even if it started from something that was. I love you. I always did. I just didn't know what that love meant until it was almost gone. I hope one day we can sit down again, not as broken people, but as whole ones, rebuilding. Love. Sadie. I kept that letter in the drawer by my bed. Didn't frame it. Didn't reread it constantly. But every once in a while, when the echo of old things creeps back, I open that drawer. And remember, not all endings are explosions. Some are slow, steady breaths. Some are the quiet relief of no longer holding someone else's weight. And some are the first step towards something new, something honest. That's where I am now. Not angry, not triumphant, just present. The truth cost me nearly everything, but it also gave me back the only thing that really mattered. Myself.